felt like we're going to model the vulnerability that all of the other faculty around the world are experiencing and laugh through it together.
So Sherilyn and I went online and talked to a hunk of our friends, because nobody is within 6 feet of each other. And we came up with some very interesting stories. So we'd like to share some of those with you right now.
So as speaking of creativity, and as we're thinking about the main challenges that we've all expressed in talking to these different populations and stakeholders in school communities, Annabelle and I realized at the heart of all of our advice has to do with creativity. To fast forward to 5 years from now, it's like, what kind of things did I learn while on house arrest with my entire family and having to move online and missing my graduations? I think what we would wish for them is the skill of a creative substitution. Now that could be physical, like, oh, my laptop broke and I was able to, use a mix of my phone and my dad's iPad when he's not using it, and kind of cobbling together a just good enough solution to get through. Mm-hmm. And so it could be a physical tool. It could also mean if you're missing a particular relationship in your life, what could be its substitute? Could it be a neighbor down the street that if you are allowed to leave, maybe you can walk the dog once a day or something. So if you go down there, do you happen to see the neighbor on the porch and wave to them and stand 20 feet away and have your pleasantries? I guess looking for opportunity for temporary substitutes is a really important cognitive and psychological strength finder and ability. And I wonder, Annabelle, do you have any other comments about this trait or ability?
I also think this is a time in which children can do more of that peer teaching. What if you're a second grader and you're just crazy about dinosaurs, and you have a huge collection in your bedroom and you can name 3 facts for each one of those dinosaurs? Why not teach that to a buddy, or teach that to a friend, or maybe teach that to the whole class? And each of the children have to come up with, well, what could I teach? What could I share? What do I know a lot about? So let's find a group of kids at one of these high schools, and they're worried about graduation. Let's put them in charge of, okay, how are you going to make this happen if we're still in that situation by that point in time?
Absolutely. The idea of ritual replacement, and saying, if you still have your class officers, I guess, they could still meet online. They could still come up with substitute ideas. There's a lot of ways, and we have some resources at the end of this presentation we can suggest for those types of hangouts and parties. But they will never forget it. If you're able to create a formal invitation and an invite, and you encourage them to wear costumes or make their own something to contribute, to create a community feeling, have them bring a beverage or a favorite snack, or make a funny pair of glasses, any of those things will actually bring joy and hopefully positive associations with the replaced ritual. It's important to bring up that we, especially in individualistic cultures, like to think resilience is just within you. But there's a lot of studies in family systems and organizational psychology that focus on resilience of the unit. The whole is greater than the sum of its parts. And so we have to think about that in resilience theory as well. What does resilience look like for our academic team? What does resilience look like for our family unit? And introducing those concepts to the kids is really transformational as well. That you are, like Annabelle was saying, you're not going to go through this alone. No one is. Even the adults who are isolated aren't alone in that. There's someone somewhere looking out for them.
The superintendent or the principal needs to make sure that they're giving the teacher feedback so that they know when they're on the right track. Oh my gosh, that was an amazing lesson. Let's share it with everybody in the whole school. Let's share it with some other private schools. This is a time when private schools need to really support and encourage each other as well. We must work together creatively.